Hey everybody, thanks for listening to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name's Jeremiah Krakowski, and if we haven't met yet, this is a podcast to help you grow your life and your business. Why do I call it Grow Your Life and not Grow Your Business, even though it's kind of a business podcast? Because when you increase in your mindset and you apply strategies in business, your life expands. You have more impact. You can do more. You can accomplish more. You can go after those goals that you have. If you have a goal in business, it affects your life. And so those come together, and that's what this podcast is. If you're not part of the hashtag Grow Your Life Facebook group, join it. On Facebook, look up hashtag Grow Your Life. There's over 1,400 people in there just like you that are reaching their goals every single week. And if you haven't checked out my course, Social Media Ads That Work, it's the #1 course out there on how to create social media ads on Facebook and Instagram to get results, to sell more products and services online, as well as my course website, Building Made Easy, that shows you how to build websites on Squarespace. That's a little pitch and plug for you for what I have to offer for sale. Now, on this episode, I want to help you reach those impossible goals and dreams that you have and make them tangible action steps for you to implement right away. Listen, a vision and a dream without implementation and action goes nowhere. You can have knowledge, but if you don't implement it, what's it worth? And so that's what I want to help you do, is implement today. By the end of this podcast, you're going to have a blueprint to take action to help you get one step closer to the goals that you have, the vision that you have. Now, if you're somebody like me, you have a lot of ideas, a lot of big ideas. You might even have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. I'm gonna tell you a hard truth here. Nobody pays you money. Nobody rallies behind, gets behind how smart you are. They don't care how much you know. They don't. They really don't. What people care about is what's in it for me, okay? And so whatever vision you have has to fit what's in it for other people inside of that vision. What you want is not ever going to be successful just doing what you want without bringing other people involved into it. Now, a lot of us have these grandiose ideas. We see people like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates. They had a vision for the world, and they changed the world. And they created something out of nothing. And we're like, okay, I'm going to go after that. Yes, absolutely. Keep that in your mind. Keep that as your true north, whatever that vision is that you want to do. You are not going to do that without bringing a common problem that people have into it. What they did, even though they revolutionized the world, is they looked at the patterns of the world around them and solved problems that the most amount of people, that billions of people needed solved. And so even though they had that crazy vision, Facebook, Instagram, all of this stuff, it involved other people. It involved other people's goals, connection, speed, ease of use, getting work done faster, all of this. And so it may seem like they just out of thin air popped these ideas out of their head and the world grabbed onto them. What they really did was they analyzed patterns that were already in the world and looked at, okay, what is nobody else doing that we can do better than anybody else? And then let's make that into the simplest model possible. Any company that has started, that has impacted the world on a mass scale, didn't start with that mass scale. Amazon sold books only. They started small. They started simple. Apple created these basic DIY kits that they sold in stores. Microsoft was a couple of disks that you could put into an IBM computer. You see? So that didn't turn into what we see today. It started, what is the demand that the market needs that is a problem that I can solve? Steve Jobs was a great motivator, was a great visionary idea guy that could bring people together to create things. So he utilized his charisma and his ability to bring people together to create these ideas. So he leaned in and doubled down on his strengths. And that's what I want you to do more of, is double down on your strengths more and find other people to help you in the areas that you're weak. Listen, if you have a vision, you do not need every aspect of it to be perfect for you to put it out there, for you to take action, for you to move the needle forward. You just need to look at, what can I do in the next 14 days that's going to get me one step closer to that vision and that direction? And yet, even when I ask that, people say, well, I don't know, should I go this way or should I go that way? Now, this is what I help people with on my coaching calls, on my 15-minute calls where I talk with people about, is those things. One of the best things to do is to follow your gut on that. Have you ever gotten a gut feeling about something and you're like, I feel better about this versus that? I want you to learn to follow that intuition and that gut more often in the beginning in your business decision-making process. More often than not, when you follow that, it's going to point you in the direction that's going to be the best action for you to learn along the way. For me, most of the actions, the decisions, and the choices that I make are all based on that gut feeling. But I start by getting myself into a flow state. And I've talked about this a couple times. What is a flow state? A flow state is what athletes experience. It's what you experience when you're driving a car. It's what you experience when you're playing an instrument. Fighter pilots experience it. Most people, when they're building their business, don't understand how to get into flow in their business. It's a bit of visualization and a bit of intuition and a little bit of just jumping forward off the cliff. Many of you are at a place in your life and in your business where the next step is into the abyss of the unknown, into the abyss of the cliff that you don't know what's going to happen when you jump, and there's not a platform or a place to catch you, and you don't know what's going to happen. Some of you need to take a step off the cliff and trust that you will figure it out along the way. You will figure out how to put on the parachute as you go, as you jump into that deep darkness of the unknown. And you go into that. When you follow your intuition, when you follow your gut, when you get into that flow state, what's a great way to do that? Do something that you love to do that's fun, that you lose all track of time with. For me, that's reading a book. For me, that's playing the piano. That's driving a car. That's playing a video game. For you, it's going to be something different. What are those things that you can do that are going to help you lose all track of time of? Like you get distracted and you just lose all track of time completely. What are those things? Stick with me for a second here, please. If you can set a timer for 15 to 30 minutes of where you get into that thing, some of you it might be art, some of you it might be riding horses, some of you it might be some kind of a fun thing that you like to do that you wouldn't do until you had all the things in your life perfectly done, until you had all the things in your life finished and accomplished, that you wouldn't give yourself permission to do that thing until you have everything finished. I want you to start to today, this week, intentionally do one of those things and set a timer for 30 minutes. Do that thing, stop at that 30-minute timer, and then go write down your business plan. Write down the action plan for the next steps of your business. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your brain into that flow state from another activity. Could be art, could be painting, could be horses, could be video games, playing an instrument, driving a car. There's a thing literally called highway therapy, where you drive a car and you get into that state. And you notice all these thoughts start coming. Same thing happens even when we're in the shower. If you can hack that and you can get into that state more often when you feel stuck, you can then intentionally, immediately after, you have to be intentional with this. You will have to force yourself to do this because everything inside of you is not going to want to. As soon as you're done doing that activity, you go into building your business, writing your ad copy, writing a blog post, recording a podcast, recording your course, creating your plan, building your website, doing that thing that you are stuck on. When you do it, that it gets you stuck and you're kind of afraid to do because you're not sure if you're going to mess up. I'm going to tell you something else as well. Tinkering in your business is where you're going to find the most amount of money. Tinkering around with ideas, throwing ideas around, things that you'll never do, that you'll never accomplish, that you're never even going to start on, just to get your brain thinking in a certain direction and putting a whole bunch of ideas down and then seeing in your gut what points out to you, what pulls out to you, what stands out to you when you write down those ideas, when you put that stuff down on paper, when you start planning that stuff out. Tinkering around with the ads manager, pressing buttons and not being afraid of breaking it. Pressing buttons in Squarespace and not being afraid of breaking it. I know for some of you that is a very scary thing to think of. Journaling, another thing where you just start journaling a stream of consciousness, where you just start journaling the words on a piece of paper as they come to mind. You just start writing. There's no coherent reason or purpose to it. Some of you need to start taking action that are related to your business that have zero purpose or goal behind them to get yourself into the mental state that is going to get you to that place where you're going to take those actions intentionally. You're going to start to do something that is a quote unquote waste of time on purpose to get yourself into the mindset that then you're going to force yourself to go into doing the intentional business activities. So I often do this. I will waste time, quote unquote, and we have to really change that concept of wasting time as well. Wasting time playing a video game. Yeah, but if I was struggling for 2 hours to write a blog post, I played a video game for 30 minutes and wrote that blog post in 15 minutes, did I really waste time? If that's part of my process. And that's what I'm saying is rethink that idea of wasting time if it's part of your process to start taking action, to start getting into a flow state. You can shrink the amount of time that it'll take you to write something by getting into that flow. It might take you an hour to come up with one idea for one single social media post, whereas if you get into flow for 15 minutes, that idea comes in like that in 10 seconds, and then you take action. Some of you are afraid to even try this. I've been mentioning this on my podcast for months, and you're afraid to step into doing this. This is the number one thing that millionaires and billionaires do to get themselves into that state, to get themselves out of a rut. Why do you think people go do fun things? It's not just because they want a lifestyle of just relaxing. If you can combine your play and your work together, you can accomplish far more in your business than compartmentalizing them and forcing yourself to do it and not have fun. If you can have more fun in your business, if you can have more fun doing the things in your business, if it becomes a fun thing for you to do your business activities, where doing those things that felt like nails on a chalkboard, pulling teeth hard in your business become fun for you, and you'll get yourself into that mental state, all of those things start to line up a lot faster for you, okay? So this week, I want you to get yourself into that state. If you get stuck on something, take 15. Take 15 minutes to step aside from that activity that you're doing, that activity that you have been so focused on that you're stuck doing. Take 15 minutes and step away from it, and then come back to it and watch the amount of energy that you have. Watch the amount of focus that you have. Watch the amount of clarity that you have to do it. That ability to do it without having all the pieces lined up, because it's coming out of you instead of striving, instead of effort. It becomes effortless to do the hard things when you do this. It's a hack that works, and I highly recommend it. Some of you, it might even be when you go to the gym. It's not going to be everything that's on this list that I gave you as well. It's going to be different for you. Have fun. Intentionally go into doing that hard thing that you've been putting off, writing Facebook ads, writing a blog post, creating a course, writing your copy, those hard things, writing an email marketing campaign. Get into that state and then go do those things on purpose and watch things start to open up for you. This will allow you to have the courage to take that jump, that leap into the unknown, to do the things that you're scared to do those things that you've been putting off, to do those things that you've been waiting until all the stuff is lined up, until you have all the pieces lined up, until you know perfectly exactly the right order to do everything. You have the right perfect formula, plan, and all that figured out. Listen, what's going to get you forward in your business is not a perfect plan or strategy. It's taking action when you don't know what to do next or even how to do it. And some of you have never tried that before. I've heard it from people. Well, how do I take action doing something that I don't know how to do? Figure it out. Ask for help. Ask somebody. Get some help. For some of you, asking for help is the hardest thing that you'll ever do. But it's going to be the number one thing that's going to take you to that next level. Okay? And so if you're somebody that's building a business online, if you're somebody that is trying to sell more online, I'd love to talk with you and help break through some of this with you on a 15-minute breakthrough strategy call where we can start to create a plan for you to get to the next level. You can schedule that call with me on my website, jeremiahkrakowski.com/free call. Or you can win a free 30-minute coaching session with me by leaving #GrowYourLife on my Instagram. I pick one winner every single week on Sunday to win that. You have to start taking action and step into the abyss of the unknown, off the cliff of safety. Jump and figure out how you're going to be safe landing as you fall down. Seriously. So often we're so focused on playing it safe and doing all the right things that we're literally at the edge of the action that we need to take. And we stay there for years because we're afraid to do the one thing that we know that we need to do to get to the next level. You can do it. Start getting into a flow state. Start having fun. Start implementing play and fun into your business and watch things change for you. Grow your life, everybody, and we'll talk soon.